as a youth growing up in the city of Akron, we had jobs. We could get jobs every summer, you know, and we were able to have either help our families or, you know, have money for us to buy school clothes and just do different things as a youth. And that's changed over the years. It's done a lot for me. And the kids now, they don't have those type of opportunities. And we need to do something for them. When school's going to be out, we're cold now, but in a few months, these children, they're going to be out, and their parents are going to be at work. My parents didn't have to worry about that because we had a summer job. We were at work at the same time my mom was at work.
You know, I had summer jobs. I worked at AMHA during the summer, and trust me, I did it all. I did ditches, I did maintenance, I cleaned the dumpsters at one of the projects. I tell you, it was a challenge. But I had the cleanest dumpster in AMHA, I just want you to know. And, but I had work. My time was taken up each day. Oftentimes I had jobs where there's no way I was going to get in trouble because I went home and went to bed. Because that's how tired I was after I worked all day. And just as you talked about, those opportunities helped shape me as a person. And I look back now, many of those experiences that I had are things that I use every day today. Part of what the citizens of Akron have to do is determine what are their priorities. And one of the areas where I would very much push as being a priority is our young people. We cannot continue to have this disconnection between our kids and the adults in the community. And in particular, there's a big disconnect between the seniors and our children.
Yes.
And that needs to be bridged because there is a vast wealth of knowledge that is sitting here waiting to be tapped. And young people that need it, these young people need it even more than we needed it as kids. So and there's some programs and there's some things out there that are doing that, but we need to expand those, and we need to use the community learning centers as the central focus for those things, because you have to go to the neighborhoods where the kids are.
My firm, we do anywhere between 25 to 50 young adults in an internship program that we've done. And most free enterprise corporations throughout the city, they're not being tapped in. They're not being, you know, the Greater Akron Chamber has thousands of members that can incorporate bringing these young folks in. You're paying them a stipend of what you would pay someone's salary to have these same jobs, even if it's just filing. I mean, I have them do little stuff that is, because my industry is very sensitive. I'm an accountant.
Yes.
So certain areas they cannot go into.
Correct.
But they can do other things. And other companies and restaurants and all that type of stuff can teach them if we have programs designed. And like you said, we can use young professionals because we need to keep them here anyway. But we need to incorporate a plan to keep them here.
I totally agree with you, and I would love for you to be a part of that strategy, because we need people who are currently working with young people.
When I worked on issue against issue 8 and on 9, I had my son with me. It was very important that he experience things that were important to me. I turned on the news, and in front of my son, saw this mayor say he hopes there's a special place in hell for us. I understand disagreements. I did not understand that statement, and my son certainly didn't understand that. My question to you is, how comfortable are you working with labor and considering Akron is so, the history is so rich with reefer movements?
Okay. Well, I can tell you that the 4 city unions are very supportive of me, and that's based on our history in terms of working together. And one thing, I don't ask anybody to do something I wouldn't do myself, and I certainly, in terms of equipping and supporting our safety forces, that's very important. I think you know that I opposed issue 8, which was to sell or lease the sewer systems. And I was very supportive of issue 9 because that required voter approval before any city utility is sold or leased or just otherwise disposed of. I respect people's rights to organize and in groups and work on their collective behalf. One of the things that you will fundamentally see different with me is open and honest dialogue with the unions. That's just important to me.
You know, I think part of the negotiation breakdown is the fact that the mayor doesn't participate on the team, and there's a lot of phone calls, and there's a lot of, when you bring 52 items to a contract negotiation where your union has 12 that they want to talk about, there's that huge disconnect. So would you participate in that team then, so we have some more direct?
Let me tell you the basic philosophy of negotiation. When you send a negotiating team, the first thing you have to do is empower them to make decisions. Okay. As the mayor, I should have a number that I need to get to. Okay. This parameter. I need to be somewhere in this parameter. Now, how I get there, I'm not really out of shape about it. So as you go into those negotiations, the team should have the ability to make decisions. Very rarely come out of that room and I know how these negotiations went, and I know why they failed, because the team was not empowered to make decisions. The best equipped person for that team was Jim Masturzo. They made him retire, and that was, my wife told me not to use that word. That was unwise. I'm supposed to use mayoral terms now. Very unwise. And that really, and there was not a level of trust in the room sufficient for the give and take that you need. Because if we're negotiating and I'm giving up something, I have to know that you're not going to cut my knees out from under me with my bargaining group when I go back to discuss those things with them. So we will have a very different environment. The negotiating team will be empowered. We will have someone who has negotiating experience. The team that the city had, all very competent people, but they were not experienced in terms of union negotiations, which are different than negotiations between 2 attorneys or other types of negotiations. A very different environment. All of this, every issue that we have right now, every issue that you have concerns about, almost fundamentally, the root of it is a lack of trust and a damaged relationship. Now, the Beacon Journal editorial board, they kind of poo-poo this whole, that whole, but I think it's extremely important because you can't accomplish change or new things if there's not a trust relationship there, or if you don't have a relationship. I worked HR for 21 years at First American. And the most important component in people coming to me was that there was a trust relationship.
With regard to budget cuts, I was really miffed to see a list, and I'm not sure who posted them, but a list of checks written by Mr. Pasquale and his expense account. This man has been globetrotting with an entourage of 30+ people, spending in upwards of $4,000 for lavish dinners. And then he's making budget cuts for police, fire, etc. And then this begs the question that if there's going to be budget cuts to be made, shouldn't they begin and end with the mayor's expense account?
Well, I can tell you, and commit to you, first of all, I will fill out the same paperwork that every other city employee is required to fill out when they do travel. Right now, the mayor does not do that. And, I think that, and it's a pain. It's a pain in the behind to fill out this paperwork. But it's there for accounting and it's there for a record of what is done at those and what's spent at those, whether it's a training or whatever else persons are going to. I'm going to eat at the same places that you would eat if you went to, when you go out of town. I don't wait, and I've always had this attitude, whether I'm spending my employer's money or I'm spending city money. Matter of fact, the travel has been so abused. I haven't gone anywhere. You have to go back years.
There's no money left for you.
I have not gone anywhere.
I love this guy.
Because of just what is both the reality as well as the perception that people have had about the travel. Now I will say, some travel I think is important and necessary because I think there has been an evolution of what the expectations of city government is.
Of course.
But that should be accounted for. There should be very clear disclosure of what that is, where we went, whenever there's travel involved with the city administration. You will see a disclosure of that. You'll be able to look at whether it's on the website or whatever. So you'll be able to examine exactly what's going on, okay? And be able to make your own judgment. And if you don't like it, when we come out to one of these meetings, and you still say, no, I spent too much at McDonald's. I should have got the Happy Meal instead of the Big Mac. I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, this is your money.
I'm really glad to hear you say that because I've been watching you through the years, living in Akron, and you just seem like a man with integrity and honesty. And most people nowadays, they think of their politicians as a bunch of liars. They lie to you, they talk out of both sides of their mouth and tell you just what you want to hear, then they don't do anything. I think that you are a man who can possibly be an honest and a great leader for Akron. And I think it's time
the toughest parts of this job, and it's easy to be direct and honest with folks if you're not focused in on the next election, okay? Because when you have open and honest dialogue, we're going to have some disagreements. We're going to have some. That's a natural part of what goes on. But what I hope to have with you is a relationship that's deep enough where I've had a number of people that come up to me and they'll say, you know what, Williams, I don't agree with a thing that you do. But you know what? You came out and you talked to us. And I'm going to support you just because we had that relationship. And that's very important to me and how we function on a day-to-day basis. So we will continue to do that. And that's pretty much naturally how I function.